Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to the Nona Boss Continuum. What a show it's going to be. What an amazing show we're going to have tonight. There's a lot to unpack. There's a lot. But before we get started, I just want to kind of give a quick reminder to my moderators to please monitor the chat, for any inappropriate words or comments. Been a lot of trolls around lately, so we don't want them in our backyard. So pay attention to the chat, please. And in addition, I would love for the moderators to remember to please urge everybody that's in chat to keep their comments focused on the topic at hand on each show, please. There's been, it's kind of distracting when long discussions about like other channels or other content creators are taking place in the chat. So please keep it to the bare minimum. I would greatly appreciate it. And just one more final reminder, if you guys could please don't share out links to other channels unless it's related or it's associated with tonight's show or the guest that's being featured on tonight's show. So I would appreciate it if my moderators, when they have time, dropping the links for Robby Raines' show, What's Really Out There, and also Exmachina's podcast as well. So no further ado, let's get rocking and rolling on this topic tonight, because it's going to be fun and it's going to be on adaptive camouflage. And joining me tonight is my friend Robby Raines. And Robby Raines is a co-host of the ExMachina Podcast and the co-host of What's Really Out There podcast, where they explore the secret world of cryptids like Bigfoot, Dogman, and more. And Robby has over 25 years experience in law enforcement, where he utilizes his skills during law enforcement investigations. He's also a canine handler and a lifelong hunter, and is a trained expert tracker. Please welcome Mr. Robby Raines. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I am so excited. You and I, we've been talking about doing the show for a while now, right?
Yeah, pretty good while.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yep.
But we have a lot to unpack tonight, sir, right?
Yeah. There's a good bit.
Yeah,
that goes along with what we're talking about.
Yes, there is. Let's real quick say hi to who all is in chat tonight. All the peeps that are usually here. We've got Gary Spikes and we have Anti-Venom. Anti-Venom, email me, and that way I'll be able to give you my personal number, so that way you and I can get together and go and do some investigating. I'm excited about that. And Mr. Walathis, welcome. You are a brand new member of the channel, the membership. Thank you so very much, sir. I appreciate your support. And we have Shucking It Down with Cornbread. Mr. Henry E. White is also in the house. And we have Jay Fritz and Mr. Tim T in Florida. And Mr. Tim T in Florida is the gentleman that did do our hair analysis for us that we are going to show. I actually edited the video down. I think it was about 20 minutes long. So I edited it down. It is 7 minutes, and we're going to show the full 7 minutes, guys. But it's all interesting. So thank you, Mr. Tim T, for doing that for us so long ago. It's been a long time now, so we appreciate you. Brown Dwarf, hi, how are you? Miss Krista from Blondes and Booze, another member to the channel. We've got Uncle Bones here. And let's see. And I'm sure more people are going to file in a little bit. So where would you like to start, Mr. Raines?
You driving this. I'm just along for the ride. You start wherever you want to, and we'll go.
Well, let's just talk about adaptive camouflage and what it is. Let's talk about it.
Adaptive camouflage, and I don't know that that's 100% accurate term, but DA and I and Doc have kind of kicked that term around, and that's just something that the three of us have and Steve too, when he's there on Saturdays most of the time. It's something that we've just kind of kicked around, and I'm sure there's other people using it. But basically, what adaptive camouflage is, what we've come to term it as, is, camouflage, just camouflage by itself. You can take tiger stripe camouflage and take it into a certain terrain, and it may or may not work in that terrain, because it's tiger stripe camouflage is designed for the jungle, just like desert tan was just was designed for in the desert, Arctic camo, so on and so forth. But adaptive camouflage, like the new patterns, the multicam and things like that the military have come up with, they're not specifically targeted just for one particular area like the older type of camouflage were. They're adaptive. You can wear them in different locations. So what we've come up with what we feel that these creatures use is what's called adaptive camouflage. And am I getting too far? I didn't want to start talking about the.
Keep going.
Okay, the hair shafts are clear, and that's not anything that we're any miraculous revelation. I mean, I don't know how many clear hair shafts Doug has found. Doug Hychek, he's found probably thousands of them, wouldn't you say? Yeah, but that's not the only creature that has clear hair shafts. The polar bear has clear hair shafts. The polar bear is not white. It's actually black. But why would a polar bear need to look white?
To blend into its
environment. Because what is the polar bear's environment? A lot of white. So it's reflecting and picking up the color from what it's around. If any of you out there watched the show that we did on DA Exmachina, we showed that video of all the doll sheep. Most of the time, and we asked everybody before that. I think you were in the chat on that one, Marty. How many sheep do you see in this video? I think the biggest answer we got was what, 5 or 7, maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
And then you see that little puff of smoke where that bullet hits, and then 30 sheep just get up and. But you would have never known they were there had that shot not rang out, and they all took, because it was adaptive camouflage. Their camouflage was adapted to their environment. Couldn't see them, just like the video. Just like the video that MK Davis showed on our show. And this is kind of one of the things that kind of sparked us in this direction, kind of rolling and talking about it. And I'd say the three of us have kind of started building a little momentum with this theory. And there again, it's a theory. We're not saying that we're the experts on this. This is just, Doc's prior military, DA's prior law enforcement military. I'm law enforcement. We go where the evidence points us.
Yes.
And so we've started looking at a lot of that stuff, and it's just the video that MK shows. It shows a black colored Sasquatch walking in front of a green tree or green foliage, and it stops, and it's almost like it disappears.
Exactly.
But it didn't disappear. It didn't walk through a portal. It just stopped. And when it stopped, its fur, hair, whatever you want to call it, just blend in. And it would be like, my hat getting in front of this black screen and me being really still, and you not being able to see my hat because it's of the black background.
Right.
Same thing. The hair started reflecting the colors around it, and it just disappeared. Didn't really disappear, but it just blended in with its environment.
Yeah.
So, starting to look at all this kind of stuff, and you start thinking about all these videos were things like, and even if you go back to the Patty video and look at that, and look at the way, if you look at, like, when it starts walking in front of the trees, you can almost see how it kind of is shaded, almost like the area that it's in. It's just because it's how fiber optics work. The military is starting to make some of their ghillie suits out of fiber optic cable. And why is that? Because you don't have to make a ghillie suit out of whatever terrain you're going to. You just got a ghillie suit that's adaptive, and it blends into whatever surroundings you're in.
Right.
The thing is, you've only got to look into nature to explain a lot of this stuff. There's no sense going out and trying to invent a whole new type of camouflage when nature's already doing it.
Right.
Just copy what's out there.
So true. So true. Because, I saw today, Marie Dumont had posted on her Facebook page, Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Group. She posted Dave Shealy's 2008 footage. And it was, I can't tell you how many times I've seen that footage, numerous times. But today, and I don't know if it was just because I knew we were doing the show today, but all of a sudden today, for the first time, I realized, because it is quite a long video. It's a couple of minutes. It's about a 2 minute, a little over 2 minute video. And there's several points during the video where this Sasquatch is walking. It's making its way. It doesn't see him. It doesn't know he's there. He doesn't, but he walks, and then all of a sudden it looks like he disappears, and then he'll walk, and then it looks like he'll stop, and it looks like he disappeared. So it was like because our eyes really just track that movement, right?
Yeah.
If it was to stand right there, I would have completely lost it in the video, but it stops, and then it moves a little, and then it stops, and then it moves a little, and every single time it stopped, I could not see it in the video.
Yeah.
Only when it's moving. It was so interesting to me that I finally saw that today.
And I've heard DA say this hundreds of times, and it makes perfect sense when you think about it. If we can train humans, special forces, whatever, to disappear in the woods, and I know they can, because I've got friends who are in the military and special forces, and they can just melt into the woods. So if we can train humans to do that, what can somebody that is born into that with a natural ghillie suit that has that kind of potential, what can they do?
Exactly. That's such a good point.
But like I said, it's Occam's razor to me. What is the most logical conclusion as to why are they blurry in pictures? Well, maybe they're blurry because of the way the hair filters light. I mean, it doesn't have to be. If you eliminate all the reasonable explanation or the logical explanations, the illogical is the next step. I get that.
Yeah.
But you can't eliminate the illogical by just saying, okay, or eliminate the logical by just saying, okay, let's go to the illogical. You have to eliminate the illogical or the logical first.
Yes.
And you're not eliminating it by saying, okay, and I know I'm going to tick some people off with this, but you're not eliminating that by saying, oh, well, they went through a portal. I get it. CERN proved that portals exist. I'm not saying that portals don't exist. I'm just saying that cannot be your next. When one just disappears, quote unquote, you can't have that be your next step. Is, oh, it must have went through a portal, or it must have got beamed up by the Enterprise, or whatever. You can't have. You have to go through the process. It's just like if I go to a crime scene, I can't walk into a crime scene and say, "Yep, he was shot with a .44 Magnum," without getting the coroner in there to do all the stuff that she's got to do and run all the ballistic tests and things like that. There's a process you have to go through. That's why we look at that. I mean, that's what we were trained to do, DA and Doc, and even Steve. He's in the medical field. So there's a process that we have to go through, and it's hard for us to just jump to that conclusion just based on certain facts. And like I said, I will never say that that's not possible and that's not what happens, and it doesn't happen. I'll never say that, because I've had plenty of people too many people tell me that, I'm stupid or crazy for what I saw. So I'll never be that guy that says that to them. But I am going to be that guy that says, okay, that's fine if you want to believe that, but this is what I believe and this is why.
Right.
If you want to have a grown-up discussion about it, we can have a grown-up discussion about it. If you don't want to, then fine. We don't have to discuss about it. And that's what I think the problem is too many people, want to throw a temper tantrum when you don't buy into their. I could care less if somebody doesn't believe what I believe. It does not hurt me in any way, shape, fashion, or form if people don't believe what I believe. That's not going to change my mind. What's going to change my mind is if I see something that happens that I'm like, okay, they do go through portals. That's what will change my mind. And I'm not trying to change anybody else's mind. I'm just, people won't hear my opinion. I'll give it to them.
Yep. Yeah, but even if you saw one go through a portal, we still have to always start at the foundation, right? It's kind of like when you automatically just jump to the fantastical, and you and I have had this conversation many times. You can't just straight jump, be like, okay, I believe in Sasquatch, and I know that they're going in and out of portals, and I know, like, we don't know any darn thing. Mm-mm. So because we don't know anything, we have to start at the foundation, right? At the basics, right? Before, especially when we're trying to vet evidence, we're trying to figure out what made that footprint.
Well, it's you can equate it to like driving a straight drive. If you're driving a straight drive and you stomp on the gas before you put that car in drive, in first gear rather, and you keep that gas mash down and you put the clutch in, you shift into first gear and you let off that clutch, what's going to happen in that transmission?
It's going to be in
trouble. Transmission is going to fly apart. And it's going to come out of every possible way it can. Because you're going to blow your transmission up. You have to slowly give it gas as you let off the clutch after it's already in first gear. You can't start off in fifth gear and start off at 800 miles an hour. You have to start off in first gear. It's the same thing. You have to look at the situation and say, okay, what's the logic? I'm following these footprints in the woods. They stop. Logically, what happened? Okay, logically, there's animals in the wild that backtrack. Grizzly bears, rabbits, some types of squirrels do it. I mean, deer can have done it. Okay, that's a logical conclusion to say, okay, maybe it backtracked. So, well, what if I'm not somebody who's a tracker and knows how to read those tracks? Okay, well, that's great. If you don't, because not everybody knows how to do that. You find yourself a tracker if you can. If not, learn yourself. There's plenty of classes out there. You don't have to go through the class that I went through. There are tracking classes out there that anybody can take. You can get online and take classes that will show you the difference, and maybe not get as in depth as I do or as I did, and have to go track somebody down for your final grade. But there are classes out there that will teach you enough to where you can get out there in the woods and you can make a qualified determination of what this track is, or where it, which way it was going. Was it, was your primary point of impact from the front of the track or the back of the track? Because that makes a big difference.
It does.
So if somebody really wants to do things the right way, then do things the right way. Don't just get out there and say, well, I think it's this, so this is what it is. Well, it's not what you think all the time. It's what does the evidence show? Where does the evidence take us?
That's right. And there's like, even, just for like practicality, like for myself, like I am not a tracker and I haven't taken any courses, but you know what? I always have in my backpack, I have a couple of field guides, right? That show different types of tracks and examples of tracks and, the animals that they match. And, it's something you can get for like, I don't even know it. They're so cheap. They're like $5 or something, or maybe $5 or $7 on Amazon. You can get them, and you can just, and they're, they fold up really tiny, and you just stick them in your backpack if you're going back, if you're going out. So, it's always good to have some frame of reference, right? And you know what? You and I did a whole show on tracking where we talked about, hey, if you're getting good signal out there, just Google it, like Google what you think it is, Google and see if you can match it up. You can do that right there on your phone while you're out in the field as well.
Well, case in point with that, when we had the skull on DA's show, I didn't talk a lot on that show because I was reading the comments, and every time somebody would pop up something what it was, I was Googling that. I would say mink skull or dog skull or whatever the skull was, and sending those pictures to DA just so we could pop them up there and compare them.
Yeah.
Same thing. You're out there and you think, okay, well, that looks like a bear track. Google bear track. Google grizzly bear track. Google black bear track. Let it pop up on your phone and look at what, look at that and then look down at what you're looking at. So, okay, that's nowhere near what this is. I don't look anything like it now that I look at it.
Yeah.
Use what you can. And there's more computing power right here than there was in the computers that sent us to the moon. I've said that many times. Use your things that you've got that you have. You may not be a tracker. You may not be, a forensic evidence technician. But you can, if you can type in something on Google, because there's somebody that's put it out there. I'll joke all the time. I joke all the time saying, if I ever had to do surgery on somebody, I'm sure there's a YouTube video on somebody showing how to do brain surgery. If you Googled it long enough and hard enough, I'm sure there's some video out there somewhere where somebody's showing you how to operate on somebody's brain. You can find anything on the internet.
Yeah. And Tim T makes a really good point. It helps show you what animals are around in your area as well. That also helps you identify.
And that's something that a lot of people don't think about and don't do, is learning and knowing what animals are in the area you're researching in.
Yes. That is a big part of it.
If you don't know what animals are native to the area you're in, then how are you going to recognize what a track for, if you don't know what's the difference between a wolf track and a coyote track, and you see a big wolf print and you thinking there's only coyotes there, you'll be thinking, oh, well, look what and it may just be a gray wolf. Because coyotes and wolves have different looking tracks.
Oh, absolutely. They do.
I mean, they're similar, but they're different.
Yeah, and they're very, and some of them are very, like, the nuances are they're just very, very, very tiny differences in some of them. You know what I mean?
If you think about it, if you don't know what you're looking at, you look at a wolf track next to a cougar track. To the untrained eye, if you just glance at them, those two tracks could look like the same thing. So you think there's a wolf out there, and next thing you know, there's a cougar jumping on your back out of a tree.
Exactly.
Because you don't know the difference between a cougar track and a wolf track. You need to learn these things if you're going to be out, especially if you're going to be out somewhere, which, I don't recommend going out somewhere by yourself. You know, you need to be
never by yourself.
But I know sometimes there's things I've had to go out and do it by myself, but I'm never unarmed if I go out by myself. I'm never unarmed if I go out with a group of people.
I was going to say, when are you ever?
I got 3 within arm's reach right now. So,
every minute. I know.
That's not including the knives.
Yeah, exactly. But is there a knife under that hat? Just
no, it's right here.
No, okay.
It's within arm's reach.
It's like right here, like right there. Okay. All right. Okay.
But the thing is, if you're going to do this and you're going to be serious about it, you have to be serious about every single aspect of it. You can't say, "Oh, I'm going to go out and I'm going to take pictures of a photograph or of tracks," but then not know what tracks are going to be out there. Because you run across a set of raccoon tracks and you don't know what they are, then how do you know you're documenting what you're out there to document?
Exactly.
And I'm not saying you have to be an expert on. Like you said, there's plenty of little fold up guides that you can put in your pocket, in your backpack, whatever. Yeah. That every state will have one of these guides that shows you the footprint of every indigenous species in the area.
Right.
Birds too. I mean, you need to know that kind of stuff.
Because when you're hearing, I mean, if you're trying to even vet, audio, I mean, because here's like one of the things that I hear people talk about all the time are like the barred owls, right? Like you hear a barred owl and your immediate thought is, oh my gosh, that's a Sasquatch. This is, oh my God. Like it panics you if you've never heard one before. I challenge anybody that's watching the show live or later, go and Google what a barred owl sounds like, BARRED, barred owl, and try to keep it in your brain of what it sounds like, because I'm telling you, it's been a couple times that when I've been out there and I'm like, oh wait, yeah. it's just an owl.
But
Like,
Sasquatch will mimic that, but you have
but
to
they
know.
do.
But it
But
sounds like a 500-pound owl, not a regular owl.
Yes.
But and that's another thing. Walk out in the woods and hear a screech owl for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
You won't think it's Bigfoot. You'll think something that Krista and Brandy have scared up is coming after you.
That's right.
Because that is, especially if it's starting to get dark and you hear one of them things, ooh, Lord have mercy, that'll scare the living daylights out of you. Because there's nothing sounds like a screech owl except a screech owl, and it is not a sound that you want to hear if you're out in the woods by yourself. And that's another thing. Bobcat. Have you ever heard of bobcat?
I have not. I mean, well, no, I haven't. I was thinking maybe if I've heard it online.
It sounds like a grown woman screaming.
Really?
And it will send the hairs up on the back of your neck.
Wow.
First time I ever heard one, I was on a call in Liberty when I was working there. Me and guy that was working with me, woman called and said there's a woman getting raped in the woods down there. That's what she thought it was. She literally thought a woman was getting raped. So me and Jamie took off down there behind her house, guns drawn. We get down there, get back to the edge of the woods, and that thing screamed. And we were both hunters, and we both just stopped. And I looked at him, and he looked at me. We both said bobcat at the same time. We're like, because we about took off running in the woods at night, and when the thing screamed, that's when we were there. It was probably only 100 yards away from us.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen bobcats. Like, I've seen a couple of bobcats down here out in the Everglades.
Chuck and Cornbread's right. Bobcats will put a chill down your spine. It is. Now, if you're in the house and you're hearing it, it sounds like it outside anyway, but outside you can tell it is not a human. But if you're listening to it and you're inside, that's exactly what it sounds like. And, we about took off running into the woods in the dark, looking for this woman that was getting attacked, and it wasn't. We about lived out the old Jerry Clower story in real life.
Yeah, I mean, you have to know. You got to know what's around you. You need to know.
If anybody in the chat knows what I'm talking about on that one.
Yeah, let's see if anybody does. Well, let's talk a little bit about context, right? So tonight we're going to show some hairs that Matt and I found in Mayaka. We found it at the Crowley Nature Museum, and they have inside this museum, we did a weekend expedition where, it doesn't get a lot of traffic. It's not like people go there to picnic. It's basically an area that maybe some like school kids they will bring there to show them kind of what native life was like, to kind of let them get out into the into nature. It's a beautiful place. So what I thought I would do is I have a 2-minute video where Matt and I, the hair was actually collected in November of 2021. And then we went back in April of 2022. And the video I'm going to show tonight is from when we went back. Unfortunately, currently, as far as I know, there was a lot of damage after Hurricane Ian, so it is closed. If anybody wants to donate, I don't have a link for them, but in order for them to open up their doors again, they have to make a lot of repairs. So it was kind of very sad. But I'm going to show that tonight because I want people to see and understand that where exactly it was that we did find the hair. It was not someplace that was wide open to just anybody, and that there's a lot of traffic coming in. So I wanted people to see where we found the hair. And then I thought we could go into the video of the analysis that Tim did for us. That is a 7-minute video. I just feel like there isn't, Robby, you've seen it. I think it covers all of it, right?
Yep, but Gary got it. Gary Spikes. Knock him out, John. I love it. I'm glad you got that, Gary.
Hi, Marquetta. Thanks for coming. I think I saw Amber in here a few minutes ago. So let's do that. Let's check this video out. And this trail run takes you to the Florida Native Village. So it gives you a lot of history. Florida Native Village. This is just down this path. And it was the same path that I was alone walking back to camp, and something threw a rock over my head. These are the cheeky huts I was telling you about. These are the replicas of the kind of huts that the Indians, the Native Americans, used to use. And right there where Matt's filming right now, that's where he found the hair.
You can see that there's still some of it on the table.
No,
yeah, this is it right here where we found the hair.
Yeah, that's where we found the hair.
Mom had originally seen the coconut husk looking thing that was underneath the table, and it's right about there. And
where exactly did you find the hair?
I came around this side of the table and I found the hair right here on this part of the table. It was hanging off in the middle of these. There's just a tuft of it hanging to this table. And so far that hair visually has characteristics of no other matching animal in the Florida mammal database.
So that is where we found the hair. I do have a still photo I will throw up so that you guys can see. We took a photo before we collected the hair, so hang on. And it's so difficult to see. And trust me, when you see like the analysis of it, you can't even believe that there are black hairs or brown hairs or any other color other than like a blonde hair there, right? Did Robby go someplace?
No, I'm here.
Oh, you here? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you say, do I need to make it a little bigger maybe?
I mean, if you follow it from the middle of his hand back up, you can follow it.
Yeah.
You need to look at the middle. If you just try to look where the table's at, you'll lose it. But it's there. You can see it. But if you look right there in the middle of, I guess that's Matt's hand.
Yeah.
And if you follow his hand back up towards his fingers, you can follow the pattern.
So I will. And then I have a photo. Hold on one second. Here's the photo of the hair that was sent to Tim before Matt sent it off. So hold on. So this is kind of what it looked like, the raw, the raw sample just on white paper. And that's what was sent off to Tim T in Florida. And you guys definitely go check out Tim T's YouTube channel. Go subscribe over there. Tim does a lot of really cool stuff. He does a lot of tracking videos and all kinds of really good information for hiking and things like that. So definitely go check that out. So that is what it looked like. That was the actual sample that was sent to Tim. And let me just remove this other video. Well, I'll leave the video just in case somebody wants to see something in it again. So let's jump into, wait, what do you want to do first? Do you want to jump into the video of the hair analysis, or do you want to look at maybe some samples or photos that I have of other kinds of hair?
Let's do the other kinds of hair first, just so that's not hanging.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So these are going to be of known animals in the area. No, I'm going to put it this way. Known animals like here in Florida. So the ones that I am going to be sharing tonight, we're going to look at, excuse me, we're going to look at black bear. We're going to look at deer. We're going to look at horse. We're going to look at coyote. We're going to look at hog, and also human hair. And we are going to look at, I found one photo of quote unquote alleged Black Panther hair. And then I also have polar bear. So I have all of these we're going to take a look at. So the first one, everybody always likes to try to say that, you know, that kind of hair or any kind of hair that may possibly be Sasquatch hair. The first one that always comes up is the black bear. So let's take a look at black bear. Oh, there we go. So this is black bear. And you see how like fine that is? Like almost like dog's hair, right?
Yeah.
Like really fine, very smooth looking hair. I mean, you would think for being outside in the weather, right, all the time, that it would have, that it would be so, it would be, I don't know, you know, yucky or I don't know, it'd be all raggedy and stuff, but it is not at all. So that is black bear. Then let's see. I gotta get back to my files. Here they are. So now we're gonna look at deer and horse. So the top one is deer hair, and the bottom one is horse hair. Interesting, right?
Yep.
But look at, see how the deer hair does have that like different type of colors to them?
Well,
even though they're not clear like the horse hair, there's still that different color, like different types of colors in there. You know what I mean?
Well, but think about, you know, deer have to hide from. So who's to say that they don't have some type of adaptive camouflage that it's just never been looked at? I mean, because you can think the same thing with a deer as you can with a doll sheep. I mean, it lays down in some tall grass or something like that. You're not going to see it either. So I'm sure it's different deer that live in different areas are going to have different shades of their hair structure. One might be a little bit lighter in one area. I mean, if you got like a lot of dense, dark colored wood like pines or something like that, they're probably going to be a little bit darker because they're going to lay down the pine needles and lay down behind the pine trees and things like that. So, you know, they're going to have to blend in with that.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So, all right. So I have, unfortunately, I could not find like a sample of coyote hair like underneath like a microscope analysis, but I think everybody can get a really good 1 second. Good idea. Let's see. This photo. So it's very similar to just like a dog that has really thick hair with that like undercoat, you know, that real thick undercoat.
Yep.
Okay. And let's see. Where's the next one? Where did it go? Oh, here it is. Hog hair. I'm trying to make this a little bigger. This is hog hair.
Now it's real short, thick, and coarse.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And like split ends everywhere. They need some conditioner, Robby.
Yeah, I'm sure I do too.
And this is alleged Black Panther hair. Looks, I mean, just absolutely absence of light, right?
Yep.
Black. And let's see, next up, let's look at some human hair. Some human hair. So even though they're kind of see-through, you can see that medulla going down the center.
Yep. And that is a big giveaway to it being human hair. Is that center shaft.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep that one. I'll keep that one kind of like I'll minimize it and kind of keep that so we can go back to look at that if we need to. And look, I think I have one more? Do I have one more, I think? Hold on. And the polar bear. Do I need to make that a little bit bigger?
No, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. And I will keep that up as well. I'll just minimize that. And so that's it. Those are, there's only one other animal that I wanted to show everybody that actually if you go and Google what animals actually have adaptive camouflage, one animal and one animal only comes up in your search, and it's going to be the Arctic fox. And this beautiful creature does change. It does change. Its hair changes with through the seasons. So that's it. That is the only animal that actually does have and is under what they consider an adaptive camouflage.
I guarantee you, though, if polar bears ventured more into areas that were not just completely snowed out, they would be in that too, because there's no need for them to change color because they're always in for the most part. You hear about the occasional one that wanders down, but for the most part, I guarantee you, if they started moving down there, you start seeing them in different shades.
Yep. I agree with you.
But the Arctic fox, on the other hand, it lives in, where there's snow at some points and stalled out in others.
Yep.
So, therefore, that's why you see them in multiple shades like that.
All right. Are we ready for this? And guys, it is, like I said, I'm going to prepare you. This is a 7-minute long video, but it is worth the watch. It's worth hanging in there for the full 7 minutes. All right. Let's see. Let's go.
Right off here, I'm saying these have different colors in them. I'm seeing clear, black, greenish, some tan color. And these are definitely hares. From everything I've been seeing, these are definitely hares. Okay, so looking at these, I don't think that end's been cut. I got a few different things I'll look at when I'm looking at hares. I'll look to see if any hairs have been cut. But none of these ends of these have not been cut. Like us humans, we cut our hair, and then also look for roots of the hairs. Alright, so these hairs have some damage to them. And that could be from them, natural. That could be from them getting caught on anything. Like on mine, I collect most of mine off the barbed wire fences, so sometimes you can tell where they were hung on the barbed wire, where they're damaged. So right here too, I'm trying to tell. It's real thick here. I'm trying to tell what this is. If there's any flesh there, or if this is like an organic growth on it. There we go. That's a little bit clearer right there. See that dark spot right there in the center of the screen, that could be a root. I'm trying to tell if that's a root to a hair. But these look like they got a lot of reddish to them as well. That's probably a root right there, that dark spot right there in the center of the screen. My neighbors are playing some music outside there, so I'm hoping it don't pick up on this too much. Alright, so these have a lot of reddish in them. So I've collected some hairs like this before too myself that have a lot of reddish in them. So these, to me, these do not look human, and to me they don't, and to me they do not look like horse or cow or anything like that. I've got videos, some of my videos where I have looked at those kind of hairs too, and did some comparisons to different hairs. and I'll do some more just a minute and let the microscope cool off, and then we'll come back and look at them some more. All right, this is pretty interesting here, as you can see. You got different colors in these, some different colors here. There's a lot of light reddish in them. This microscope here, I can move it around a little instead of just having the so from what I'm seeing here, I'm comparing this to some that I found that look a lot like these. And they look a lot like human hairs under the microscope here. But when you compare the like human hairs up here close to them, you can tell that the human hairs are a lot thinner. I'm sure these are not human hairs. Okay, just for comparisons, I want to show you. These are Winnette's hairs off of her hairbrush. So you can see they're all thin. That looks like a root right there in the thick reddish brown in the middle right there looks like a root.
So pretty interesting stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every single color is there. Clear, red, blonde. There was even some that had a green hue to it. I mean, it's pretty interesting. Brown and black, and it's doesn't match anything in our known database for animals here in Florida. That's for sure.
Well, and the thing is there's going to be people out there that they're going to have their own ideas and their own thing, and that's fine. But the simple fact remains that you could send that to probably a handful of people, and they're all going to tell you the same thing: that number one, it's not human, and then number two, that it probably doesn't match any known species in whatever area you send it to.
Yeah. I do have a few still photos that we could maybe look at. One of the again, this was a almost 20-minute long video that Tim did for us that I edited down. So some of the photos that the still photos I'm gonna show are a little different kind of view. One of them, actually, I'm just gonna go one at a time so we can see a little better. So here's photo 1. So what I found interesting about this one is how Tim talks about in the video that none of the hairs have been cut, you know, that they're very like, you know, like scraggly and have damage to it. So I thought this photo really showed that, where you can see that it's, you know, there is damage to the hair. It's not perfect and, you know, smooth and clear and clean like human hair. So that's that photo. This photo is, hold on one second. And this photo, one of them seems to be just like a little darker than the other, but yet in a way to me, it kind of also has a little bit, you know, of that like greenish color to the one that's kind of like in the background. It kind of has a little bit of a green to it, even though they're like this like reddish, brownish, greenish looking hair. Then this one was really interesting. And this is one of the things, and this is part of the sample. Like I said, this is a part of the sample that Tim took a look at for us. And pretty much everything in that clip right there is all clear.
Yep.
It's all perfectly clear hair. We're not sure what the thing in the middle is. We're not sure if it's possibly a piece of like skin or, you know, some sort of, you know, DNA sample of some sort. But you can see the clear hair going straight through it.
Yep.
So,
like Tim said, it could be skin. It could be tree sap. I mean, it could be anything.
Yep. And then this photo I really like because we really weren't sure what kind of organic matter this was in the sample. Tim does talk about it, that, you know, it is some sort of organic matter. We don't know what it is. The structure of it looks very strange. It almost has a honeycomb type structure to it. We don't know what it is, but it was, and I'm not sure. Tim, did you find, or have you ever found this similar type of organic material on any of your samples that you have collected over the years? I'd like to know that. I don't know if we ever answered that question. And okay, this was interesting too, because this was also in the sample, and yet this within itself didn't match any of the other hair. Matt and I did do some, well, more Matt than me. I'm not going to say me. This was also part of it as well. And we're not sure if maybe this is possibly palm, like, Tim, what's it called? Palm, like, like, hold on. I think I have another sample. I have a sample of it, sample photo. It's like palm hair, you know, like when you strip a palm fiber, that's it. So we weren't sure if this is palm fiber, that's it, cabbage palm fibers. So we weren't sure, you know, if this was just that was part or somehow in with it. So we don't think this particular photo, but I found it interesting and I was going to share it. I'm not going to, you know what I mean? I'm going to share all the evidence. I'm not going to pick and choose. So that was also part of the sample as well. And I think that was, and then I'll just show this one last one. And why is it doing this? Oh, I have to stop sharing. That's why. And this is another one where it's, shows you the debris. I mean, I would think for sure if they're out there and they're living out where they live, that there's going to be tons of debris, some sort of debris and organic matter that they do get in their hair. So it's not, none of the samples, none of the hairs in the sample were clean or clear, other than the color being clear. So there you have it, folks. But I think we made a really good case for adaptive camouflage tonight, Mr. Raines.
I do too. And like I said, what we're saying is not, who knows? Nobody's an expert. Nobody is,
Yep.
in this field. There are people who know a lot about certain areas that lend to this. Like, I know a good bit about tracking and, stealth and camouflage and things like that, but that in no way makes me an expert on how these things camouflage.
Yep.
But it gives me a pretty good foundation to kind of look in certain areas.
Right.
So I think this is something that's very plausible. I think it's something that, if you really start looking into what we already have in the natural world, what we already know. I mean, look, like I talked about the video with the sheep. Look at things like manta rays that use the color of their skin to blend in with the sand. Look at great white sharks, the way they're colored on top and bottom. Or if you're swimming underneath them and look up, that it looks like they blend in with the sky.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're swimming over top of them and you look down, their tops are where they blend in with the bottom of the ocean. I mean, that's adaptive camouflage at its finest, because they are built as ambush predators. And who's to say that Bigfoot is not an ambush predator as well? I mean,
exactly.
We've heard plenty of stories about how they take deer, how, some of them will push deer towards a certain spot and one's hiding and reaches out and grabs them. Deer are not stupid animals. I know they jump out in front of cars all the time, but they're not stupid animals. They're very intelligent. They're very skittish. They're very hard to get into situations like that. So to be able to hunt a deer like that successfully and use that as a food source, you've got to, I hope Sasquatch aren't walking around in the woods with guns. If they are, that's pretty scary.
They were in big trouble.
Yeah, it's scary enough as it is, but it's really gonna be scary if they're walking around armed.
Right.
So, why is it such a stretch to believe that these things can do this kind of stuff? I mean, it's not for me. Me, DA, and Doc have kind of kicked this theory around for, we got some others that we're kicking around, but that's one that's probably we've been kicking around the longest, is the adaptive camouflage. But that's kind of led us into some of the other stuff that we've talked about that, that we've kind of speculated about. And that's all it is, speculation. Everything that we talk about on these shows are theory, conjecture, speculation, because there's nothing concrete about it. And I think Krista said it last night, that, or one night I seemed like I heard her say, until somebody, or it was Naomi that said this, until somebody's got one under a microscope, there's not going to be any experts.
That's right.
And that's the truth. And it's bad to say that's what it's going to take. Although we all know that that's probably already happened and we just don't know about it. but that's a whole nother can of worms. But,
right. That's a whole other show, Robby.
Yeah. See what I did there? Just gave you another show.
That's right. That's right.
But but that's it's fun to sit here and speculate and have these discussions about this. And if one day all this comes out, some of us are going to be like, "See, I told you so," and some of us are going to be like, "Well, dadgum, I was way off the mark."
Yep.
Who's going to be on what side of the coin? Who knows?
Who knows? But at least we're checking out the avenues, right? At least we are going down not just one avenue, we're going down more than one, and we're looking at all of the things and not just one. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never want to put all your eggs in one basket, right? Like, you want to keep an open mind.
And Freaky Geeks got it. I mean, sometimes you're learning, sometimes you're relearning. And
That's right.
any type of research, when you're researching something, especially something that's as fluid and dynamic as a living creature that is, unless, like I said, unless you got a group of animals inside an enclosure that you're studying, and even then, when you're studying it, you're not studying true behavior, because they're going to behave different in captivity than they're going to behave out in the wild. But you're always think about how much what we know about animals that we know about has changed over time. And I hate to keep using sharks, but that was my thing that I wanted to do. But just think about the misconceptions of sharks from back when you and I were young, when things like Jaws come out. What they, people back then thought all sharks did was, as Richard Dreyfuss said in the movie, eat, sleep, and make little sharks. Well, now we know way more about sharks than we knew back in 1974 when Jaws came out. That's not all sharks do. And sharks are actually intelligent. And you couldn't have convinced anybody back in the early 70s when that movie came out. You could not convince anybody that sharks are smart. They actually have trained sharks at some of these aquariums. They know when it's feeding time. They know where to go to. They go to a certain spot to be fed. And they do that so the divers can go clean the cages and the aquariums on the other side, so they're not in any danger. But who would have thought back then that a shark was smart enough to be trained? They wouldn't have thought that. Sharks are just mindless eating machines. No, they're not. Things. The more you study something, the more you know, or more you find out that you don't know anything that you thought you know.
Yep.
And the day you feel like you know everything, like from my standpoint, my field, the day I feel like I know everything about law enforcement is the day I need to get out because I'm about to get hurt.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing this 26 and a half years and I learn something new every single day that I go to work. And you think after 26 and a half years of doing a single profession, you'd have it pretty well locked down. But no, it's fluid and dynamic and it's ever changing. Just like, researching animals in the wild. It's never the same thing because, animals may act a certain way, but every animal is a different animal. And just because this animal A does this does not mean animal B is going to do the exact same thing that animal A just did.
Yeah, like we have to do what? We have to adapt daily, right?
Yep.
Gotta adapt. You gotta roll with the punches. Yep. So Auntie Venom says her question is, do you think they are a scenting animal? And she says scenting like a dog. When a dog works, they're scenting.
Like marking the territory. I think some of them do for sure. I don't think that's something, but
no, she means like I believe she's a canine handler as well. So she's talking about her follow-ups says scenting like a dog. When a dog works, they are scenting.
Oh,
so you think, yeah.
Do I think they use their noses like dogs do?
Yeah.
Yeah. And thing that I learned when I was a canine handler was dogs' noses are like 70,000 times more sensitive than ours. And the way my my trainer told me was like, if you walk in a house, like when you cook for us in Gatlinburg, you know, we smelled what you were cooking at all, but a dog would smell that. It would smell the meat. It would smell the seasonings. It smells the vegetables. It smells the garlic. It smells the bread. It smells all that stuff individually, and it's processing all those smells individually. So do I think that they are that sensitive? Probably not. But do I think they're way more sensitive than us? Yeah, because most animals can sense and smell, because fear is something that you can smell. If you know what fear smells like, humans can even smell that. But when we think we go in the woods and we're completely clean, you know, we're not. I mean, traces of soap and gun oil and whatever was in the car that we were sitting in, you know, our animals that were around us. Do I think they can detect that, smell that? Absolutely. I mean, that's just a natural survival thing for most animals. Some animals are a lot more developed and sensitive to that, because, you know, dogs, that's what they were bred for, is that. I mean, that is, you know, like, you think cats are known for their eyesight, dogs are known for their sense of smell. You know, sharks are kind of like dogs of the sea because they're known for their sense of smell. But look at all the other sensory organs that sharks have working for them: the lateral lines, the ampullae of Lorenzini, all those things that work with the water, that detect movement, and when they say they can detect a drop of blood in a swimming pool, you know, it's every animal is made and has adapted itself to survive in its environment. So absolutely something like that would have to have a very keen sense of smell, because if it didn't, it'd be walking into us all the time.
Right.
Whereas we don't see them that often, because probably they can smell us. They can hear. I would assume their hearing is very keen. They can hear us coming from a mile away, literally. So yes, anti-venom, I think they do have a very developed sense of smell. I wouldn't say it was as good as the canines, because obviously,
yeah,
I heard one time, if you took the scent glands inside a dog's nose and unraveled them, it would go wrap around like 2 football fields. So I hope that answered your question.
I think you did. I was about to sneeze again. Oh my goodness, my allergies are out of control. That's the reason I never actually ever I never posted that video where we went back to Mayaka. I never posted, because the entire time I'm sniffling and I'm like with my allergies the whole time. So I apologize, guys, for that. But yeah, like that's why I never released that video, because I'm like the entire time, because it was like April and everything was like really stirred up, and I was like sneezing and coughing, and spring and summer is so bad for my allergies. Did we have, let's see, did we have any questions? Did you guys have any other questions that Robby or I could answer? Of course, I can only answer just stuff about like what I shared tonight. I can try and answer that. Tim is amazing. Make sure you guys go and check out. Let me get his.
I think Don pretty much took what I said and put it down in a nutshell. Most critters can smell anything that's not the norm for their area. Yeah, that's a lot more clear and concise way of saying what I was trying to say. But yeah, we're not built to go out and survive like animals are. We can learn and we can do that, but animals have to survive way worse things than we have to survive every time. Which I know some of the murders and car wrecks and things like that are bad, but every single day that a deer goes out or wakes up and gets out of its little nest that is bedded down in its bed, I mean, there's probably a predator around looking to kill it. We don't have to worry about that every single day. So animals are vastly superior to us in every way when it comes to stuff like that. So
all right. This is What's Really Out There podcast. That's the link, the YouTube link to Robby's podcast. And what are you guys doing? 1 episode a week or 2 episodes a week now?
Yeah, we try to do at least 1 a week. Sometimes everybody's got a different schedule. Steve's gonna have to kind of take a part on the back burner because he's got some stuff going on at his department. He's got he is a higher up, but he's got one of his lower level supervisors out, so he's having to do his job and this guy's job, and he's got their moving department, so he's gonna have to back. So it's probably gonna be just me and Johnny for a little while. And then Johnny's got some things going on. I think towards the end of this month, so we're trying to get stuff out as often as we can, but
work schedules happen, right? Life
happens. So, but we're closing in on 50 episodes, which I never thought when I started that I'd have 50 episodes coming out, but
I know. And you guys are amazing. Like, really, like, I know that the last few episodes that you guys have put out have been amazing. Like, really, really good. Like, I know you've even said, oh, we just kind of go in and just do it. And I'm like, what? Yeah. Like, you guys are like, literally, like, I'm sitting there practically with a pen and paper, like practically taking notes. Cause I'm just like, and when you told me all that, you were like, oh yeah, we just kind of wing it. I'm like, wait, you don't wing it? And no way you could be winging these shows.
9 times out of 10, about 10 minutes before Tyler hits the button, we're still figuring out exactly what we're going to talk about.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys do an amazing job. You guys really, really, really do. And I love it. So guys, go over and subscribe to What's Really Out There podcast. I put the link in chat. And also Robby can be also found on the ExMachina podcast. I just put that link also in the chat. So make sure you guys go over there if you aren't already subscribed. But if you are here, you probably are already subscribed over there. Mm-hmm. But make sure you always hit those notification bells to all of our channels.
Yep. And tune in Wednesday night because we got Eli coming from Small Town Monsters. That's going to be a good show.
Yeah, that's going to be an amazing episode. So you guys are on Wednesday nights at 9:00 and Saturday nights at 9:00.
9:00 Eastern, 8:00 Central.
8:00 Central. I'm so bad about that time zone thing. I guess if I lived in a different time zone, then I would have to be worried about it. But
everybody in our time zone, it's 9:00.
9:00. Yeah. I think you and I are the only ones that are on the East Coast over here. Like everybody else is all Central time.
Yep. But like I said, we got Eli coming on Wednesday. DA's got a couple of good shows in the works. I mean, we had Leon on Saturday night. He's always a hoot.
Oh, he was great.
Yeah, from Leon's all the way in London. And
UK. Yeah.
That joker. A lot of people call me crazy. Leon he has got a set because they can't go out in the woods with guns like we do. He goes out there with a machete.
Oh my gosh.
But
maybe that's why there aren't that many reports of them over there.
Yeah, because ain't nobody report them.
Nobody.
I think Leon would probably just cause them to laugh themselves to death if he actually got attacked by one because he's a hoot. I mean, me and Doc laugh our tails off every time he's on the show. I love Leon. He's always got a glass of Red Bull about that big.
Oh my goodness.
It's always like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning when he's on with us. So
right. Yeah, because I think it's 5 hours difference, right? They're 5 hours ahead or whatever. So yeah. So
if y'all didn't see the show Saturday, go check that out. That's a hoot.
Check that out.
Leon's got he's got some pretty good stuff. That there was a good video on that show. So go back and check that show out and come check us out on Wednesday night. We got Eli coming in, and that'll be a good show.
You guys do a great show over there, on What's Really Out There and on DA's channel as well. And I'm hoping I'm going to book DA soon. I got to get him on the show.
We like to joke that you got DA ExMachina, and what's really out there is DA ExMachina Light. Because we're going.
Okay.
We talk about the same things on
that.
What's really out there that we do on DA, but it's just a lot. We usually do 2, sometimes 3-hour show on ExMachina, but most of the time it's 30, 45 minutes for what's really out there. And we just kind of like really knock it down to the brass tacks where and it's a lot easier when everything's pre-recorded, when we just talk and Tyler keeps up with the time and he's like, not mine and Doc's time to get out of there, but Tyler's like, and but with ExMachina, a lot of times, me and Doc get together. It's usually we're going to get off topic on movies or food or something like that. And DA's trying to reel us back in, and it's just a good time. That's what we just. It's like, we just we like to sit around, goof around, talk, and cut up. And sometimes there's a topic there that gets talked about. Sometimes
not. Anti-Venom, definitely reach out to me at thenanaboss@gmail.com, and that way we can connect in the real world and go and do some research together. Looking forward to that. So definitely reach out to me. Robby, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I always have a good time on your show.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to hear that. See, even Walatha says, a very informative and interesting show this evening. The last hour and a half flew by. So it did fly by. It really did. Thank you. You gave me an amazing show on tracking. And then tonight we talk about adaptive camouflage, and it was fabulous. I appreciate you, my friends, so much. If you want, hang out backstage for me for just a few minutes. Let me just say goodbye to my peeps and make a couple little announcements. And yes, Mr. 10-gallon hat over there, Mr. Robby Raines. Thank you. Thank you, Robby. Well, guys, another amazing show in the books. Another amazing one. It doesn't get any better. I'm telling you, when you have good friends around you who know what they're talking about. So I wanted to just really quick, and I know, like I said this the other night, I got to go over it again. I have a giveaway that we're going to be doing. Paranormality Magazine. My son, Matt Williamson, Strange South Florida. He did an article in here for Paranormality Magazine. Matt has autographed the cover, and he's also autographed inside as well. And again, this article, it also has in the hang on one sec, and I will show you. Yeah, so Matt has autographed the inside. There's also photos, and I know that I've shared them on my channel and with a few other people on their channels as well. We've, always talked about some of the prints that we've gotten and some other, evidence that we've got. So it's also in here as well. It's really worth it. It is the June 2023 issue, first edition. So please, if you guys want a chance to get this sent to you, all you need to do is like, share, and comment on my video yesterday with Mark Fiorentino, my video tonight here with Robby Raines, and my video tomorrow night with Mr. Chris Hensley from Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Group. And then also go over to Instagram, find me on Instagram at thenanaboss, and like, share, and comment on at least one of my posts. And then on Sunday, on my show with Michael John from the Paranormal Voice, we are going to announce the winner. So that will be Sunday, August 13th at 2 p.m. Show up for that. And that's all you have to do. It's really not that hard, guys. So if you really, really want that autographed copy of Paranormality Magazine, make sure you go do all those things. I have one more thing that I want to really quick. I want to make sure I plug, and I have to share one more thing with y'all. Hold on one moment. And let me pull it up. And that is the Ozark Mountain Bigfoot Conference and Expedition. I have it on the ticker that's been scrolling down below the entire show. But if you guys are going to be anywhere near Ozark, Missouri, September 13th through the 16th, definitely go and come and hang out. And the expedition part of it, you have to submit, I think, an application in order to do that portion of it. But the conference that is going to be Saturday, September 16th, that is absolutely easy. $25 in advance tickets, $35 at the door. Space is limited, guys, so do not wait. Make sure that if you want to go to this conference, you get your tickets. And if for some reason you still need any further information, you can reach out to Mary Ann, and her email is, it's M as in Mary, AKERANS @gmail.com. So reach out to Mary if you guys need further information. So thank you guys all so very much for being here tonight and hanging in there with us and having a good time. And I will see you guys tomorrow night, 8 p.m. with Chris Hensley. And we're going to have an amazing show. We are going to talk about pareidolia, what it is, how it works, and also how to vet your own evidence. So definitely show up for that. Thank you guys all for being here. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. And do not forget, please do not forget to spread love and kindness wherever you